Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank, where the Wimbly Womblys are taking on Millwall, one of the least liked clubs in the Football League. And look what's happening outside, Meredith. In a stunning turn of events, it's raining in England, but because it is winter, it is coming down as snow. There's nothing I enjoy more than a good snowy pitch on a winter's morn in Wimbledon. I am very excited for this game, not least because this is the John Stones Paint Trophy, which is not a famous trophy, but we did win it last year. It was the only competition we won, and we need to be advancing in all of these knockout tournaments because we need money, because we need to sign. We have a bunch of players who only have 7 months left on their contracts, and I didn't really understand the situation. So I kind of forgot to sign them to new contracts, and they all want increased wages, of course, which is natural. I don't blame them. Today, by the way, I'm talking about Bandwagon fans. I'm not mad at them. I just don't actually have any money. So that's a little bit of what we're trying to work out at the moment. But yeah, it's nice. We got the orange ball out because it's so snowy. This is exciting. And then we just dribbled it right out of bounds. This is just what I love. Got Ginger Gordon there on the ball. That's a great-looking pass, though. I got to say, if you could just keep it in. If you could keep it in, and then maybe just do that. Just make some trouble for the team that you're opposing. See if you can just make some trouble for them. That was a really unnecessary slide tackle behind the ball. That was so unnecessary that you might not even have noticed it. Look at John Green. He's not as big and strong as he used to be. Everything worked out better than expected. Right, so Bandwagon fans. So as I'm recording this, there's the greatest upset in the history of the Premier League is on the verge of happening. Leicester City. Meredith, are you familiar with the Leicester City story? All right, so usually the Premier League is won by one of the rich teams. There's Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City. Those are the really, properly rich ones. Then there's, a second tier of rich, like Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspurs, that kind of thing. Then there's, a third tier of rich, like your Evertons, your Stoke Cities, Crystal Palace. And then there are the teams that are, at the bottom of the Premier League. They kind of come in and out because every few years they want to, they get relegated and then they're not in the league anymore. That's like Leicester. Leicester is a really good example of a team that, it gets out of the Premier League every... Oh, my God! Oh, it's beautiful! It's beautiful! Who scored that magnificent goal? Oh, my goodness gracious! Oh, I love being alive. I've never felt so alive. With his left foot, no less, into the corner of the net. Who is the miracle worker behind that work of great American genius? It's T.S. Eliot! Oh, this is how the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. It is not, however, how goals are scored. Goals are scored with big, fat, humongous, beautiful bangs. Congratulations to T.S. Eliot for delivering a magnificent one. So, right, Leicester is a great example of a team that, they almost got relegated last year, but then they had a really good run at the end and found themselves able to stay in the league. And then they were in the championship a few years ago, and then they, that kind of club. Anyway, it seems like Leicester are going to win the league this year, which is impossible. I don't want to, overstate how impossible it is, but, it's not possible. For a team like Leicester to win the Premier League is not, strictly speaking, within the realm of possibility. I don't think to say that nobody expected Leicester to win the Premier League would be to understate how impossible it is. So yeah, it looks like Leicester may win the Premier League. And in that process, Leicester have received a ton of new Bandwagon fans, including, by the way, me. I mean, if Liverpool isn't going to win the Premier League, I damn well want Leicester to win it, or anyone other than Manchester United. By the way, can I just comment on the fact that our opponents today have chosen a uniform intentionally designed to camouflage them, which makes it very difficult for me to play against them, because I cannot see where they are or when they have the ball. In general, it's darkness everywhere. this is the very worst of South London. South London in December in the snow. But we're winning, which is what's important. So, oh, that's a great ball, too. That's a nice searching pass. And it falls to T.S. Eliot. Oh, he's a poet. He's a lyricist. But he's also a brilliant crosser of the ball. Wow, that was almost a gorgeous goal. So Leicester have received a ton of bandwagon support, and I'm sure for like longtime Leicester fans, maybe there's some mixed feelings about it because it is a little weird to have to like share the glory of this impossibly beautiful thing that's happened to your club. That was a terrible finish by the Golden Child, or possibly Jago. Regardless, it was a disgrace. As disgraceful, some would say, as his haircut. You had tons of time on the ball, Jago. You could have passed to that man, Lyle Taylor. You could have done a number of things, but instead you chose the wrong choice. It's a young player's mistake, and some would say the guy who's pressing the buttons. And I'm sure there's something a little annoying whenever you're having a success about bandwagon fans, right? Like, and then there's the problem of when something you love becomes popular. Like, it's good news in a lot of ways because this thing that you love is popular. You're being proven right in some ways for loving the thing that you loved. Like, there's this band 21 Pilots, and I think they've kind of going through that right now, where like they have this really significant hardcore fan base that's suddenly kind of having to share their band with a broad section of the American public, and it feels a little bit bad. I have long maintained that what my brother has said in the past, that was a beautiful cross, it's just there was no one there to get it. What my brother has said about being famous is profoundly true, which is that the only following worth having is a cult following. There is something, frankly, really unfun about finding yourself at the center of popular culture, even for a little bit. Oh my God! It's the Montserratian Messi. Look what he's doing, Meredith. He's doing a cartwheel while wearing unnecessary gloves. Actually, for once, the gloves are necessary. That man, Lyle Taylor, the Messi from Montserrat, the Caribbean Cristiano Ronaldo, with a beautiful goal. It's just it finds his magnificent Montserratian forehead, and he just uses those neck muscles and possibly gives himself a concussion to put it in the back of the net, and everything is beautiful, as we are now 2-0 up on our hated opponent's Millwall. Sounds like a fictional place. And I think like this happened. I can think of kind of two examples of when this happened in Nerd Fighteria. The first was in 2007 when our video got featured on YouTube, and we overnight went from having 400 viewers to having 7,000. Now, still, like 7,000 seems like a small number, and in many ways it is. It's just that like it's so much bigger than 400 that I think to those 400 people, it felt like, well, who are these people, and like why are they claiming ownership over this community that we've built together when they've only been here for a week. And then the second time was in 2013 when The Fault in Our Stars, I think it was a little bit slower than that. The Fault in Our Stars first became kind of a much more popular book than any of my previous books had been, and I think that was uncomfortable for a lot of us, including me. But it was just a weird feeling. Like it was, it was good news. It was exciting. But at the same time, there was a sense of like, I didn't, not that like, I think especially among early readers of the book that like, oh, well, these people don't get it, or they're not taking it seriously, or that like in some part of the process of commodification that accompanies, sort of broad mainstream success, that something was lost, that like a special feeling of connection to the material was lost. And with The Fault in Our Stars, I think that was particularly true because it was sort of the difference between the people who knew Esther and the people who didn't. The people who saw it as reflective of a experience that we'd been through as a community, or saw some echo of that, and those who didn't. And I mean, I have no idea what to say about any of that, except to say that I think like everybody's feelings within that are legitimate and need to be acknowledged. But I mean, I was, grateful and amazed that the book found such a broad audience, but at the same time, deeply terrified by the audience, by the, by finding myself in the middle of this like culture that I didn't understand and that had kind of never been mine. Like I'd never been, somebody who understood or was particularly comfortable with popular culture, so I'm sympathetic to the feeling of people when they think, well, this was mine and now it belongs to everyone, and that's not cool. And so these people are not cool. They're not real fans. They're bandwagoners, whatever. On the other hand, like, you don't know what someone's experience is on the inside. You don't know how it feels to be someone. You don't know how much they care about Leicester. You don't know how much they care about 21 Pilots. You don't know. Maybe this is a thing that, that keeps them alive. Like in a lot of ways, I'm a bandwagon-y. Oh, it's off the post! Oh, and we're going to pass it out of the back, just like the Wimbly Womblys do. It was a magnificent pass out of the back situation, and then it's going to Lyle Taylor. He's exhausted, but the kid never stops running because he hasn't stopped running. He ran all the way from Montserrat to England. Oh, almost. It didn't work. By the way, Lyle Taylor was born in England, has never lived in Montserrat. But, don't let that get in the way of a good story. So I think like in a way I'm a bandwagon Liverpool fan, right? Except that like over time you become less of a bandwagon fan because you spend more time, you sort of prove your loyalty to the club over time. And in the end, that's what it is with anything. Also, you can be an intense fan of something and only be an intense fan for a little while and then move on and have other things that you're a fan of. And that doesn't speak anything to the intensity of your fandom or the importance of the thing to you. So I try really hard not to think that I know what other people's experience is, or not to think that I know the nature or depth or of someone else's passion. Like I also try not to let that affect my relationship with something, which is incredibly hard. Like for instance, I love Star Wars. But there's something almost kind of infuriating about seeing the new movie and it being so good, and then like everyone knowing that it's so good and everyone liking it. That's just a human thing, I think. On the other hand, like Star Wars was always popular. It just wasn't popular in with other people the way that like nerds liked it. Like the way I liked Star Wars, great save Shia LaBeouf, was just different from the way that like other people liked Star Wars when we were little kids. Like, everybody had the action figures and everything. It's not measurable. It's not a quantifiable love for something. Is not. Oh, it's off the post again. Wimbledon have gotten lucky in this game. There's no two ways about it. But then again, our opponents are invisible, which is a huge disadvantage. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. Oh, it's T.S. Eliot. Oh, the keeper is up. We get to dribble it into the back of the net. I love a dribbled goal. I love a dribbled goal. It's my favorite kind of goal. Oh, yes. Yes, it happened. It finally happened. We got to walk the ball into the net. It feels so good. Oh, look at that. And just the selflessness of T.S. Eliot to let Lyle Taylor live the ultimate dream of walking a ball across the goal line. Oh, everything is beautiful. I do feel bad for Millwall. They were just trying to make a dream come true, and they had no way of knowing that we are brilliant at counterattacking on the corner kicks. Meredith, have you noticed that we have literally scored more goals when the other team has a corner kick than when we have a corner kick? That's how bad we are at corner kicks. It's in our best interest to just kick the ball on when we have corner kicks, to just kick the ball as far away from their goal as possible, and then to give them the corner kick. Anyway, we're winning. It's the 90th minute. I think love what you love and find the communities within that community that can be useful and productive, and where you can find kindness, and where you can find work that interests you, and where you can collaborate in ways that lift you up and make you feel less alone. That's what being a fan is all about. And that, to me, is what the fandoms that have been so important in my life have been about. And when you jump into the community, matters less than how you contribute and what kind of a community member you are. Thank you for watching. Thanks for following the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys. I'm sorry again for Jago's haircut, but it's not my fault. I can't. He literally won't speak to me about it. Thanks for watching. Best wishes.